Hi everyone, I'm April, and you're watching the Tangled Cat Speaks, and this is episode number 30. I have to say straight off that this past week has been a little bit difficult for me. I kind of lost my knitting mojo a little bit just because I've been working a whole lot of extra hours at work, and we all have. It's kind of the norm for dispatchers. We are particularly short-handed right now, so I've been working 60-hour work weeks, so 20 hours on top of my regular 40 every week. I'm exhausted, so I haven't really been doing a whole lot of knitting on the days that I work, and so I didn't get my my socks done yet, the ones that I'm doing for the Brown Bagginess Sock Club. I have made progress, but I'm sure I could have gotten them done if I had really focused. I am so far just beginning the foot of the second sock. And I found an older stitch marker. I don't remember exactly where I got this from, but it is so pretty. It's a pine cone, the green bead. Love it. So almost, but I just didn't have a whole lot of energy to devote some time to these. So a little bit here and there, but that's that. It's kind of, when you're a 911 operator or a dispatcher, sorry, I dropped my ball. When you're a 911 operator or dispatcher, it's crazy hours, and it's just a normal thing for call centers for 911 to be short-handed. It's not the type of job for everyone, and the turnover rate is really high. I find that that's common all over the country, maybe even in other countries as well. So we do end up working a lot of extra hours, and that's the nature of the beast, but somebody does need to answer those calls for help when somebody needs it. So there you go. So I was a little bit tired. Then my days off came, and well, actually today was my only day off, but I did have my son came to me, and he kind of commissioned me. He kind of threw me under the bus, so to speak, in a good way, but he did. He watches, and I apologize, I'm gonna have to put the name of the YouTube podcast that he watches. I know he told me, but I don't remember. What are you startled by? Oh my God, is there something there? Cats are weird. Cats see things that we don't see, so I'm a little freaked out right now. What is she freaking out about? Stop it, Aggie, stop it. Anyway, so my son watches this YouTube podcast, and apparently they put a call out on their Twitter for anyone who knits, because they needed a prop made for a special video that they're going to be doing. I'm assuming sometime around Halloween, because when my son responded and said, "Hey, my mom knits," they sent him a photo of something that they wanted knit up for them, and it's kind of a little bit scary, in my opinion. I'll put a picture. I looked for a pattern for it. I couldn't find anything, and so basically I'm winging it. In its basic form, it's a ski mask, and then it's kind of embellished a little weird. So the photo that I'm putting up shows some fuzzy stuff up on the top, but he didn't want that. He just wanted basically the face part, and so that's what I've been working on yesterday and today, and I'm doing it in worsted weight, so it's gone by pretty quickly, but because it was for my son, of course I said yes. And I've been kind of focused on that a little bit, and it's of course because I'm making it up as I go. It's trial and error. I keep having to rip it out and go back and everything. So this is what I've got so far, and please don't judge me. I've never done a ski mask before, and like I said, the pattern that I needed was the face that I'm supposed to put on there. There really wasn't anything for me to use, so I'm just kind of basically making a very long beanie and putting in holes where I think they should go. So this is, it's sideways, sorry. So Don't judge, don't judge. So this is what I've got so far, and if you saw, if you know, I think I put the picture up already, but you know, I got to put black around the eyes and then red around the nose and mouth to make it creepy. So I've been working on that. I thought it would be cool, you know, make my son happy. He really enjoys watching that podcast, and they responded to him, and so it just made him very happy. So I think it'll be, you know, and I just love that my son is so proud of the fact that I knit. So, you know, how can I say no? I mean, it kind of creeps me out to be making this sad, but how can I say no to my son? You know, and it's going to make him very happy to be able to send this off to somebody that he's a fan of. So that's pretty awesome. I'm excited to do it for him. So I've been working on that the last couple of days. I did most of it today. So there's that. And one last thing I'm going to talk about as far as whips, because I obviously don't have any FOs right now, is a shawl that just came out by Josh Reichs-Rabinski. I've talked about him a lot. I love his aesthetic. I love what he does with yarn. I love him. And he came out with a shawl called Thrive. It's a DK weight 3-color shawl. And I had this yarn already set aside for something else, but when I saw this pattern, I fell in love, and I already started it. So I'm using DK weight yarn by 3 Irish Girls. I don't remember the name of the base, but I will put it here. It's definitely 3 Irish Girls, and I'm using these 3 colors. So this one is called Driftwood. It's a little bit blown out because of the light. Oh, that's better. It's just almost like a faded, you know, piece of wood, like, you know, driftwood, exactly what it's named. So there's that. This one is called Midnight, which is a beautiful navy. Beautiful. And it's probably very difficult to see here, but there are, it's tonal. It's semi-solid. So it's got some lighter pieces, you know, like right here you got some lighter blues. Some pieces that look almost black. So there's Midnight, and oh, it's such a pretty color. And then this one I got kind of on a whim. It's not my colors exactly. It's a little on the pastel side. This one, oh, that's blown out right there. That's better. This is called Wendy Darling. And I loved the name because, hello, that's cute. And it's got, I'm gonna have to, it's got a bunch of different colors, blues, peaches, pinks, greens. It's just a mashup of so many colors, and it's just pretty. It's not something that I normally gravitate toward, but I fell in love. And I've been wanting to put these 3 together for the longest time. And I've been trying to find the right pattern. And I was super excited when I saw this pattern that Josh had put up, because the one that I had chosen ultimately was just kind of, it was alright, but I just really needed to put these 3 colors together. And then here he comes along and does a 3-color DK weight, and I thought, this is it. This is perfect. So I've already started it, and it's basically just going to be, from what I can tell, it looks like it's going to be a long crescent. And it's already done some short rows. And you can see even the driftwood is a semi-solid tonal. There's variations in the color already. So I'm super, super excited. I'm about to start section 2, which is going to incorporate the 2nd color. So I'm so excited. I jumped on it. I am super happy. This is on a, I believe this is a US 9, a 5.5 millimeter needle. So I'm hoping it's going to go by really quickly, but it already feels just squishy. So I'm super happy. I got it started. Yay! I'm finally happy with the pattern and the yarn combination. Yay! So we'll see. I really want to get that done. I was going through my Ravelry and seeing what I have started already, things that I've had sitting on my needles forever, and kind of grouping them together. I tagged them all with WIP so that when I go through my patterns I can see which ones, because they're all kind of all over the place. I have them hibernating, so they're kind of down where I don't really see them, and I kind of forget that I have them. So now I can go back and look under my projects under WIPs and see what I've got in hibernation, so that I can get some of those done. I really miss working on some of those things, but I forget about them because I get excited about new things all the time, and I'm kind of starting to feel bad that I've got so many things on the needle. So I'm trying to get little by little working through these things. It's not a guarantee that this is going to work, because I do love starting new things. I didn't work at all on my Nemesis socks, the ones that were red and with black, white, and gray variegated yarn. I didn't work on those at all, so I didn't even bring them. What else? I think that was it. I think that was all that I have been talking about most recently. So I know that I said that I wanted these socks done hopefully by the end of the month, so that I can enter them into the Grocery Girls sock bash. And I think that I can if I just stick to my guns and get on it. This I should have done probably before I go to bed. I'm just about ready to start the decreases for the crown, and all I got to do is the embellishments for the face. So that should get done super quick, and then my son can mail it off to his friends. So, but I do want to get these done by the end of the month. I've got a couple of more days. The other thing that I did, because I really wasn't in a knitting kind of frame of mind, I did do some dyeing, yarn dyeing. I think I mentioned a while back that I went on to the Gnome Acres website, which unfortunately she's closing permanently. By the end of this month, her site will be gone. I did go on there yesterday, and there was still quite a bit of her bare worsted yarn available, which I almost got it. But I already bought 40 skeins from her. So, but I'm still kind of tempted, you know, if there is any, well, no, she's not going to be on. I don't know. I'm rambling, never mind. But that's where I got this yarn. This particular yarn that I have here is a fingering weight. It is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And she had divided these up into 300 yard skeins. Not quite 100 grams. I think it's something like 66 or something. And what I did was I went to, we just got, this is terrible. We just got a Dollar General built down the road, like literally walking distance from my house. So on my way home, I keep stopping there. Oh, I have to get something from Dollar General. I need this, I need that. So, you know, things are $1. And I keep going in and spending money. So by the time you know it, they have my whole entire paycheck. Okay, maybe it's not that bad, but it is very tempting to want to stop and get something there. So the other day I actually stopped to look for, I was craving beef jerky, and they didn't have the kind that I wanted. So I'm walking through the aisles feeling sad because I didn't find what I wanted. And I happened to see these. They are the single pack of drink powders. It's the Crush brand, I guess. And they're single individual packets. And I got strawberry and a blue raspberry and an orange. And I decided I was going to dye some yarn with it. So I had an idea in mind, but I wasn't quite exactly sure what the outcome would be. So the first thing I did was I got some blue, and I dip dyed a skein in the blue, and then I dip dyed a skein in just pink, and I dip dyed a skein in just orange. And then I went later on and got all 3 yarns, and half of the skein, I laid them out so that half of each skein was in a pan, sprinkled it with the leftover 3 colors on all 3 skeins. And that gave me these 3. Where'd it go? Oh, I lost it. Did I just drop it? No. I don't know where it went. Hold that thought. Watch me scramble. There it is. Oh, found it. So this one is kind of like a hot pink. It's looking orange on here, but it's kind of a hot pink. And you can see it's got some of the orange color mixed in, some of the blue that kind of looks lavendery. That was the first one I did. And then the second one was the orange, and this one's got some of the blue there, which turned a little green, and then a little bit of aqua here, and then it does have some of the hot pinks. And then the blue looks very tropical. You know, you can see where the other colors kind of speckled in there as well. So I've got these 3, and I still had a little bit of open pouches of each color with some powder in it, and I didn't want it to go to waste. So I got one more skein, and I decided to go ahead and just lay that all out in the pan and just sprinkle it randomly, and I ended up with this. And I love them. I love them so much. So I'm thinking of a shawl, a very wild and bright shawl, and I'm trying to come up with a pattern for it. I think I'm actually going to use some bear yarn in the pattern as well. I just haven't quite figured out what I want to do, but I've got some pretty colors out of powdered drink mix. So, and you know, this was easy to do. It didn't take more than literally with the dip dyeing and the sprinkling of the yarn. I had all 4 skeins hanging to dry within less than 30 minutes. So that was cool. And it didn't take a whole lot of energy and everything. Where, you know, if I sat down and knit, I would have gotten sleepy and I wouldn't have gotten anything done. So this was the alternative when I lost a little bit of my knitting mojo this week. So I did that. It actually took longer than I expected to dry because I have been getting a lot of rain here. I say I like it's my rain. We, as a population, have been getting quite a bit of rain. So it's been really humid here in New Mexico, which is something we're not really used to. And so my yarn took quite a bit of time. It took 2 days to get it fully dry, where, gosh, I've usually had yarn dry, could hang it outside and it would dry within a couple of hours. So that's a big difference. We're not used to all this moisture. We've got roads washed out and all kinds of shenanigans because of the rain, but I am super happy because that means that the forests are getting some water, some moisture, much needed to hopefully decrease on some of these forest fires that are going on in the area. So that's cool. The last thing that I want to talk about, maybe not the last thing, yarn related. I was clicking around on Ravelry like I do, and I came across, okay, you know how they have the ads at the bottom of the pages, different things, you know, sometimes it's accessories, sometimes it's patterns, sometimes it's yarn dyers and whatever, and I saw one, and the only reason why I clicked on it is because it said Northern Ireland. Okay, this is going to be me geeking out just a minute. A few years back, I had found a show that was already several years old. It had already, the last season had already been aired. I was way behind on this, but I found it in my library, and it was a UK TV series called Merlin, and as it seems, it's about a wizard. It's about King Arthur, and it's just a whole different take on it, and I fell in love with that show. And the main character, Merlin, is played by a wonderful actor called Colin Morgan. And he just has this way of acting. He's just very emotionally expressive in his face. And I mean, I just thought he was wonderful, even though the show itself is kind of campy and silly and a little bit cheesy. I fell in love with watching him act. So I watched all 5 seasons. I loved it. And, you know, fangirling the way that I do every once in a while, I found out that he is from Northern Ireland. So there I was the other day playing around on Ravelry, and I saw that this ad was from someone in Northern Ireland. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get yarn from someone who may live in the same area as Merlin. I know, it's stupid, but whatever. That's exactly why I clicked on it. So what it is Little Stone Cottage. Oh, it's blowing out. Little Stone Cottage. Stop it. Stupid light. Sorry. And these are the 3 colors that I got. This brown one, which looks mostly has browns in it, but it's got a few speckles, which is really hard to see. Up in here is some pinks running through. This particular colorway is called Woodland. Super pretty. It is a 75/25 merino nylon. 400 meters. It says 400 meters per gram. 400 meters for 100 grams. This medium color was called Weekend in Paris, and it is so pretty. It's got some of those same tans and creams that the other one had, and it's got a lot more of the pink and some blues up in here. Super pretty. I haven't taken it out of the wrapper yet, so I don't know exactly what this yarn looks like, but I love it. And this one is mostly grays with some darker navies, and it's got some darker pinks in there. And this one is called Fiona. And I had to get this one because 1, it's beautiful. 2, because my son's cat is named Fiona. So I thought that was adorable. Oh, look, there's some dark in there. I just noticed there's some dark blues in there. I thought it was all pastels, but I didn't mean to make them match so well. I just was clicking on colors that I liked, and then when I got them in the mail, I was like, oh, well, that looks cool. I could make a fade with that. So I was super excited. Again, this is Little Stone Cottage Yarn and Accessories. She is on Etsy. So when I clicked on the little ad on Ravelry, I went to the Etsy shop, and I was super excited. It took a little bit to get here, and I can't remember honestly what the shipping was, but I don't think that I cared at the time because it was Northern Ireland. I really wanted something from there, so that's what I got. And just as a side note, I have watched the full entire 5-season series of Merlin at least 4 times. And I've only bought them the boxed set of DVDs maybe 2 years ago. So I really love that show. I know it's silly, but you know, we all have our thing, and that's mine. And I've always been kind of into the King Arthur saga. I watched The Mist of Avalon. I read all those books, which is a different point of view of the King Arthur saga. I've watched every single movie that came out that has anything to do with it, including way back when with Helen Mirren in Excalibur. I have always been fascinated, so it really was a no-brainer when I went into the library and saw something that said Merlin on it. So it's just, that's my geek thing. I've always loved the story of King Arthur and the wizard and all of that stuff. So very, very fun. I just enjoy it so much, and now I've got yarn from that actor's home country. So that's really you know, as far as knitting stuff, that's about all I got. I am on the last few chapters of reading The Silence by Sarah Rain. Really, really good book. And I think the next one in that series, I believe, is called The Whispering. I'm not positive, but I will put it here as well. So I've got that on request from the library. And I also have on request for the book that we're going to be reading in the Delicious Death group on Ravelry. That is Evil Under the Sun. And this is one of my favorites from Agatha Christie. I've read this one several times. I've seen all of the different TV adaptations, movie adaptations of this one. It's one of my favorites. I wouldn't say I would say maybe third or fourth on the list, because at the very top is Murder on the Orient Express, and there's a couple of others that I really love too, but it's up there. This is one of my top 5 at least. So we're going to be we're going to be reading that. Like I said, I have watched several adaptations of Agatha Christie's novels, and some of my favorites are the more recent ones that were done with David Suchet, and he plays Hercule Poirot. Oh, he to me is Hercule Poirot. I love, love, love watching him. The voice, the mannerisms, everything. He is to me exactly what Poirot should be. And don't get me wrong, I loved the Kenneth Branagh version in the movie. That was amazing. It was beautiful. Every version I've ever seen of Murder on the Orient Express has been wonderful. However, for me, Poirot is David Suchet. So there's another geek moment from me. So I think that's about it. I do have those books waiting for me, or should be waiting for me soon at the library. I just watched, speaking of ghost stories, because The Silence is a ghost story haunted house. I love my library. I can't get over how much I love my library. They have a really good selection of DVDs, and I had gotten, every now and then I love watching old black and white movies, especially ones that I have never seen before. And this one was called The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. And it had Gene Tierney and Rex Harrison, I believe. Never seen it before. Really cute, really fun, black and white haunted house story. And it starts off like it's gonna be spooky, and then it ends up not being. It ends up being really sweet and kind of a strange twist on a love story. So it was really, really cool. I liked watching that very, very much. I love old black and white movies. They're very much overly acted, but you know, I just think that everything is so beautiful in these old black and white movies. So I was so happy to find that, and I've been in a ghost mood kind of lately. I don't know why, but and then here's Aggie freaking me out because she sees things I don't see. Maybe I need to lay off on the ghost stories, but I probably won't. So that's about all I have for you right now. I will see you all again next week. Thank you for coming and visiting with me a little bit, and I hope that tomorrow, being Monday, runs smoothly for you, and that the rest of your week is filled with family and fun. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye. And I meant to show you what my Thrive shawl is being housed in. I don't know if it's still a thing, but I remember back when I first started really getting into knitting, the Booga bags were very hot and popular, and they were actually made with where you put like a drawstring through, but I had modified mine so that I could have sturdier handles. But and this was a Noro yarn. I don't remember the colorway. I will post it here, but super pretty. I love it. I actually have another one somewhere with some other random whip hiding in it, and that was the original one with the drawstring, but I just thought I'd show you. I love my Booga.